for recording. Good, bad, or bullshit. Let's not get into a sidetrack. Good, bad, or bullshit. Episode 220 begins recording in 3, 2.
Hello and welcome to the Good, Bad, or Bullshit podcast. My name is Crofton Steers. I'm the bad dude of this podcast. With me, as always, is the double dragon of this podcast. I'm talking about Bo Schwartz. And the Streets of Rage of this podcast, I'm talking about Mike Hodgins.
Streets? I don't even know what that is. I was hoping for Super Contra.
Oh, no,
I'm just
they're
gonna
all
say this
brawlers.
I'm just going to say this about being the double dragon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know the other one. I like how you gave me the title. I wasn't
Streets
from my
of
childhood.
Rage is actually the most critically well-received of the three
well, as
franchises.
we discussed pre-show, critics are idiots.
So, yes, I am the most popular. That's actually not true. I just have a soft emotional connection to bad dudes.
I
Huh?
thought
Well, you
you
got
were
a
going
bad-
to say Bo was other bad dude, and then one of us was President Reagan.
You got a
Bad dudes.
you got a bad dude action figure?
No, it was actually a bad dude arcade box. It's on my desk at work. Anyway, for the audio listeners, that was not helpful, but I held up a box that has bad dudes written on it.
Yeah, you bought a table-sized arcade machine.
Well, I'm sure I've told the story on this show about the portable arcade machine and how I learned to. I think it was we did an episode on credit cards. I'm sure we did an episode on credit cards.
I don't think so.
And I didn't get a credit card till I was in my 30s, and it was because of buying a portable bad dudes machine, and my mom fronting me the money when I was a kid, and it ending up not being what was advertised. So I learned about false advertised. And I had to pay back my allowance over multiple months. So I learned about paying for things before you can afford them. But anyway, I bought another Bad Dudes machine that promised to give me what I wanted when I was a kid. And I got it for Father's Day, actually. And again, it was falsely advertised. It's not exactly what I thought it was. So that was quite pleasant to me. I got screwed again by Bad Dudes.
Well, that's what bad dudes do to you, Crofton.
Yeah,
Bad dudes aren't nice.
They pin you down and they screw you.
Mike, you'll appreciate the story synopsis of Bad Dudes on the side of the box here. I'll read it to you.
Please do.
It says, released in 1988, this classic arcade game asks one simple question. Are you a bad enough dude to rescue the president?
It's a good question.
My answer would be no, because I'm too bad.
How do you think the person writing that felt? You know, just
No, they felt good, Bo.
yeah.
That's a
Are
video
you a
game
But
bad
my
enough
story.
question
dude?
is, if it takes a bad dude to rescue the president, how bad a dude does it take to kidnap the president?
Yeah.
A real bad dude.
Yeah, it seems like it's badder to do the thing. Mike
Yeah, it's not a
mentioned.
nice dude. It's not a nice dude who kidnapped the president. It's the baddest one. But maybe it takes a bad dude to catch a bad dude.
But hang on, how bad of a dude do you have to be friends with Russia and North Korea and take a dump all over other democratic countries? But
The worst type of bad dude.
yeah, Trump's the baddest dude. He's the president now. We've come full circle. That should be a picture of Trump holding up his fists. His fat,
These are bad dudes.
his fat
So
Big Mac
beautiful.
laden fists.
They're versus Dragon Ninja. That's what it says.
All right.
Anyway,
Like you connected it back to current U.S. stuff. Every time I see a headline from the United States and Trump, I feel like crying.
'cause right
I'm
now,
like, the world is just like.
If that game was
shit.
made right now based on current events, you'd be saving Ivanka, I think, right? Ivanka Trump?
no,
That's who you'd be saving?
no, she's no good either.
No, but that's who you'd be saving. That's the president's daughter.
do you guys I watched 24 with Jack Bauer and all that sort of stuff, and I saw all the seasons of that show, and the best
sorry.
received season critically was season 5.
Okay.
And the big twist in that season, spoiler for a age-old show, is the president is the villain. And that was like a big thing.
Critical
Oh,
acclaim.
shit, the president's evil. That's fucked up. And so
But then
but
28
sort of.
Then 2017 happened.
Yeah, now I look back and I was like, yeah, well, presidents are pretty much evil now. That's the deal, you know? Like,
But I mean, that's always kind of a stupid thing. Like, presidents order bombings of countries all the time. It's like if you live in those countries, you probably don't like that president.
they're
now
probably
it's a little bit
probably
more-
not racing to push any
He's
buttons.
he's more evil now. Yes.
there was at least moral ambiguity before. Now it's not ambiguous. So,
Yeah.
what's funny, if it makes you feel better, Jack Bauer saves the day. So I'm hoping that he'll save the day
I
this
totally feel better.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
I'm glad you feel better.
All right.
Speaking of feeling better, maybe we should pull a random topic.
Please.
That'll make us all feel good.
Please. Oh wait, Mike, that's your job. Do you remember how to do it?
Okay. Let's do it.
There we go.
That too. You can do anything. Except laugh.
Well,
Or
seeing
go
as
to the-
how we all need to feel better, maybe we should be trying some alternative medicine because that's the topic.
Oh God!
And that's
damn it.
solid. Come on, I'll weave that in.
Yeah, that's good. Also, it's kind of timely. Okay, so is weed considered alternative medicine?
No.
It's come so much into the mainstream. I'm not even sure if that alternative anymore. But yeah, I guess so.
Is Canada we're just passing or legalizing?
No, I say no.
It's been legal for medical use for quite a while now.
Yeah, but we're legalizing it.
But it's meant as like a symptom.
And be like, dude,
It's meant as a symptom reliever. Can you guys hear me? Okay? Am I coming in loud enough?
Your voice is a bit lower than the.
Yeah. And the recording just stopped working too. I don't know why. It's just nothing's coming through. No. Just I don't know from what point, but there's just nothing playing. All right.
Stop talking about this now. I'll need to
Yeah.
better. Maybe we should
We got
be
your
trying some
alternative medicine.
because that's the topic.
What happened?
That's
Why
solid.
didn't you
Come on.
stop?
It just had a failure. I don't know. I don't know why. All right, pick it back up where we left off. We just announced that it's alternative medicine. Just lead in with asking if marijuana is a thing. Are you hearing me loud enough though? I'm talking and you guys don't stop talking. Maybe I'm just used to being on my other shows where people stop talking and go, "What are you saying, Bo?" Where you guys are like, "Shut up, fuck."
Yeah, no, we don't respect. So yeah, are we 1, 2, 3 and go?
There you go. Ask your marijuana thing. No, not yet. Didn't you hear the ticks? Can you hear the clicks? No. You don't hear those clicks? That's not good. One sec. Let me test. Oh no, it's not recording still for some strange reason.
Hey chat room, we're just having technical difficulties.
Why are you not working?
Lord Shaver, oh, you just got here. If I were you, I'd go back to the beginning because we ranted about The Last Jedi for a really long time. We're not going to get
Stirred up a can of worms.
Wicked Kitten could barely hear Mike or Crofton. I think Bo's trying to get Ben.
Yeah, it's something's fucked up.
Okay, well, I'll be right back.
Okay, can you say something, Mike?
Hello, I'm saying something now.
Can you do it louder?
Hello, I'm saying something louder now.
Thank you.
Now
All
it's
right,
louder.
There was
Check.
a problem with my mixer. I might actually have to buy a new mixer. I think my
What?
It's just
Well,
messing
you know
up.
what? It's probably about time.
I don't know. These things are supposed to last. I paid like $200 for this thing. But yeah, it's not recording very powerfully at all. It's just
Well,
messing
you know
up.
Hey,
what?
I'm back.
It's probably about time.
Although it's picking up you guys okay. I don't know. These things are supposed to last. I paid like $200 for this thing. Okay. You guys can hear that?
Thank you.
But when did you pay the $200?
You guys hear this?
Yeah, I hear that.
I can hear the sound effects.
All right. Like the system just took a dump, but I turned off the mixer and turned it back on again. It seems to have cleared up the issue. Chat room, just say something again so I can see it on the meter.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, you
hello,
guys
see
are
it on the
broadcasting.
meter.
Yeah.
Stick it in your meter.
Something happened with my mixer. I turned it off, turned it back on, and cleared up all the issues. So
So
sorry,
do we have to
guys.
restart-
Mixer issue. All
Do
right.
we have to restart the episode?
Just restart from like, is marijuana an alternative medicine? And
Okay.
then allow Mike to explain why.
All right.
Allow me to try to talk and not be able to get through.
Okay.
1 sec. Now my microphone is fucking up. Okay.
Hello?
Yes. Now can you hear the ticks, Crofton?
No.
Now?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So is weed whatever drug that we just pulled the topic for?
I think that it's getting like too mainstream to be considered alternative, but I mean, yeah, I think so because it's pretty recent that it's been legal. It's been legal in Canada as a medical use for a while.
Well, we're legalizing it recreationally, like
yeah,
right now.
but that's not what the topic is. It's not
In your
alternative
face,
recreation.
US. Yeah. Okay. So weed is excluded.
No, I mean you can include it. I guess. I mean it's herbal. Like a lot of herbal remedies are alternative medicine. You know, take some ginkgo biloba and watch your cancer shrivel away.
Really?
Don't do that for the record. I'm not recommending that.
That doesn't sound real at all.
Ginkgo biloba is a real thing. I think
No,
it's a
but the
root.
fact that it cures cancer.
Oh yes, didn't you know that? Goji berries too, Bo.
So
okay.
are you
Also, goji berries don't cure cancer.
It sounds like you're saying, hang on, it sounds like you're saying alternative medicine is snake oil, basically.
It is like I'm saying that somehow.
is that what you're saying? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't the faintest idea if someone told me an alternative medicine worked or not. I would probably just assume it's all snake oil.
I think that's a good place to start from. It's not to say it all is, but it's.
But see, here's the thing: the word alternative medicine, the term alternative medicine, is like it's an alternative to taking medicine. In which case, I would be like,
it sounds like a pejorative.
Yeah, it sounds pejorative.
But no, I would say that. So they're not using medicine in the like take your medicine. They're using medicine as in like how we cure people, that different level of meaning. And I think that there are things in alternative medicine. Say like a lot of Eastern medicines would be considered here alternative medicines, like acupuncture, right? Mm-hmm. And though I think also sort of in the vein of snake oil, a lot of people will swear by these things and say that they've really been helped by them. And there's lots of different kinds, whether it be herbal or Reiki, which is one which.
Is it psychosomatic, or I guess the word is like, is it
placebo?
I
think so. That would be my argument. The placebo effect is it's measurable.
Like, it's hard to argue if something is helping reduce symptoms because it's putting your mind in a positive mental state, which I think there's some basis in. Like, it won't cure you of disease, but certainly having good mental health will help you, survive or cope with symptoms of a real disease, if not cure it. Which is why I think sometimes a doctor or a medical professional might say, hey, this alternative medicine will not cure your ailment, but please partake in it if it makes you feel better for whatever reason. Because it's not harming you.
If they said that, then you'd be like, well, no, it's not going to work. I mean, I think that a lot of this stems from
that too.
I think a lot of this stems from the fact that a lot of people feel failed or let down by traditional Western medicine because, they had a loved one who got cancer or something, went to the doctors, and they said, okay, let's start you on chemo. They felt like hell for 2 years and then died. And it was really sad and disheartening because that happens a lot. And so people look for alternatives.
Franchise.
Sorry, Bo? What did you say?
It happened to the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, maybe a little alternative medicine is what it needs. But
whoa, stay on target. Stay on target.
Shut up, Bogey. Now I lost my train of thought.
So,
but
look,
just for the listeners' benefit, we just argued for 30 minutes before starting the show about Star Wars, and I'm totally needling Crofton.
So just in terms of the alternative medicine, because like Mike threw acupuncture in there, and I think there's tons of like if acupuncture collectively does nothing, then I think that it would have been disproved at this point. I think that might be an actual physical rehabilitation.
No, but here's an interesting thing about acupuncture and what people say. Also, chiropractic is arguably well, I don't think arguably, I think it is also nonsense. But the thing about acupuncture, which is different than Western medicine, is that it's dogmatic. Like it operates like a religion in the sense that there is a way of doing things, and that's how you do it, period. Whereas Western medicine is science-based in the sense that you must prove that your treatments are effective in a vacuum. When someone disbelieves that it will work, does it still work? All these things, it has to meet a high standard to be allowed to be used. But something like acupuncture, it's just like, this is what we do. These are your energy. This is your chi flows, and we stick these things in. And there's no one like, I mean, it's not to say that there haven't been benefits. And Andrea, my wife, as a friend of her family, who swore by acupuncture because she had chronic pain for years and tried all these things, was on crazy painkillers, and it just wasn't helping. And she saw an acupuncturist and was like, "Oh my God, I'm better." So it's not, is there nothing to this, but it raises red flags when you're like, when you want to know, like, well, why does something work? Because I'm like Croft, and I'd be like, well, someone must have studied this stuff, right? But I think when you start digging into it, you don't find that there's a lot of like clinical studies. And when people say why it works, it sounds like magic based on things that aren't proven or things that we don't know, like chi flows and stuff like that. I mean, which are based on dogmatic views of how the world works.
I know very little about this, so I'm going to cop to just doing a quick Google search to pluck out all the keywords associated with the topic to see if it would jog my memory. One thing I remember hearing a lot about, there's two, it's categorized as unscientific belief systems. One is naturopathy, which is a belief that the body heals itself using supernatural vital energy that guides bodily processes, which is, there's like no scientific evidence to support this. The other one, and it's the one I've heard of quite a bit, is homeopathy.
Oh,
which is that certain substances like echinacea. God, so many people talk about echinacea helping relieve symptoms and shit.
Echinacea is a flower. You can grow it in your garden.
But basically, it's
weed.
It's a
system
system
of homeopathy is. I'll tell you what homeopathy, because I read a book quite a long time ago that discussed a lot of these things.
I think weed is proven to relieve pain symptoms. Like,
well,
I think that's proven.
I know, that's why I'm saying, he's like, it's a flower you grow in your garden. I'm like, that doesn't mean that it doesn't do anything.
No, it does do something. So is opium. It's from the poppy plant you can grow in your garden, and it definitely does something to you. And all opioids are derived from it, and they have absolute effect, and so does weed. And I'm not saying echinacea doesn't, but homeopathy is hilarious because it's like, again, it's this magical thinking about things. In fact, what you tend to do with homeopathy is you think there's some kind of disease, and then you come up with something that you think is the opposite of that disease, something like this.
Like a counter in Magic the Gathering, right? Like you're
but this is what you do. So you take something like, say you have some kind of illness, and they link this illness, I don't know how, to say something like mercury or arsenic, something that's toxic. And then what you do is you take our arsenic and water, and you mix half and half. And then you take that half mixture and you have it with water again. And you do that again and again and again. So you're having it down. Mm-hmm. And I've heard they do this to the 64th power of division.
Okay.
Where I heard tell that if you have a glass of water and if you've done that, there is no chance that there's one molecule of arsenic left in it if you do it that many times. And then they say, but what it has captured was the essence, the thought of the arsenic, and it's that resonance that will cure you of the disease without harming you, because arsenic is poison. But like, so they claim it to be a powerful medicine, but it's always water. That's what you're always drinking. You're always taking is water, but yet they claim it's powerful medicine. And you might be both familiar with the magician James Randi.
Yeah, I've seen him. I don't actually know any of his magic.
He was big with Penn and Teller, where like Protégé, they love him because he was one of the like the first debunkers of bullshit.
Okay.
And
I can get
he
behind
had these
Penn and
famous
Teller,
things where
I
he
know
had a
that.
bottle. He would do these presentations about BS alternative medicines like this, and he had one where he had a bottle of homeopathic medicine, and there was like 60 pills in it, and it says like, warning, this medicine is dangerous. Take 2 pills a day maximum, and he would eat the entire bottle of pills.
Jeez.
On live performance all the time. Nothing ever happened because there's nothing in it. It's just nothing. But it works on the fact that the placebo effect is very powerful, and if you believe this medicine is curing you, you will see improvement.
Whereas if you tanked a whole 100 tablets of Tylenol, you're dead. You're literally dead by liver failure.
You will die. Do not
You're
do
dead.
that
A
ever.
painful death. Your liver will cease to function, and your body will fill with bacteria as you watch yourself die.
Yeah,
Over a very
you don't
agonizing,
want to
painful
destroy
death.
your liver.
I learned how bad Tylenol was from reading about it. There's Tylenol-related deaths like all the time. Apparently, Tylenol is one of the most toxic things, like over-the-counter things, that shouldn't be over-the-counter because of how easily you can kill yourself with it.
Well, but it's one of those things where it says very clearly, like all things, it tells you, take this much.
Yeah,
don't take more than this
People
much.
take more. Over-the-counter stuff is like because people hear about the things that this Randy guy did with like, well, they're just saying that to be safe. But like, what's the harm in taking 20 Tylenol once? And it's like, don't do that. Oh my God,
says on the
don't
package,
do
they
that.
cause death. Like,
Don't do that. It's very dangerous because
So,
we're pretty strict about that kind of stuff. And Tylenol is one of those things that like makes it over the counter.
But you see what's interesting. So you just said we're pretty strict about all this kind of stuff, and we're not strict about alternative medicines. So you can go out and say, I have a naturopathic remedy. I want to put it on the market. In Canada and many countries, you can just do that. And you can say, this cures a disease, even though you have no clinical evidence to prove that. And this happens all the time with homeopathy. It's like there is no clinical evidence to prove that homeopathy works or naturopathy, but you can say it does and sell it as and they're starting to change this in Canada because it's clearly very misleading and because it's totally unregulated. But the stuff that does work is regulated because it might kill you, and they have to be careful of that.
So two things here. Trying to get a word in there twice. Two things. Number one is to Mike's last point. Just this past weekend, there's a news article about this guy in Vancouver who went to a market and he sold what he called hot dog water, and is essentially like these exactly what it sounds. Trendy. They're very trendy looking water bottles that he did with a hot dog in them. And he had all this stuff about all the sort of health benefits that the hot dog water had, and he was very honest about it after a weekend at the market, that he was doing it as like a satire sort of parody thing, and as sort of like he's not routinely going back trying to fleece people with his hot dog water money. It was part of the packaging and the marketing sort of associated to it. So in Mike's defense of his argument, there's a lot of that stuff that can easily be done in Canada. But Bo, because he cheated and went on the internet, made me cheat. And so because
I
don't think it's cheating. You know what? I'm sick of picking up topics and not knowing what the hell they are. And
fair enough.
Doing a bit of notes helps the show. Fine.
Also, for me, the thing I was struggling with is because like you look at things like natural medicines, like so aloe and burns and such, and we're talking about these things. And when the topic was drawn alternative medicine, I associated that as being like, you know, natural medicines and stuff like that. Now that's clearly not the case. As Mike was going on and being like, okay, it's chiropractic, it's acupuncture. So like the Wikipedia article, if you go on it on alternative medicine, it explains very much similar to what Mike said. It's all these, alternative sciences or whatever. I use quotation marks for the audio listeners, air quotation marks. But everything about the Wikipedia article skews negative. Like it's like they're saying, worst case, best case, a hoax, worst case, health risks or potentially toxic. Like the article is extremely negative. It's rare that I see a Wikipedia article that reads so negatively. So that brings me back to the question I'd like to ask on this show. Why would this be something that we could say is good?
Well, I think there's, it does skew negative. I think the reason why people believe in this stuff is because so many things ultimately do come from nature, right? Like aspirin, I think came from the bark of some tree, right? But the difference is someone found this stuff and then they tested it, they did clinical studies, they found it to be effective in these situations, met a high standard, and now it's aspirin. You can go buy it. So there are things in nature that do stuff, and probably there's tons of unknown things that we haven't found yet, or that we're potentially making extinct at the moment, which for sure we are, because we're killing the world slowly. But there are things in nature that we don't know, and that you can find that will have some benefit effect. For sure there are, because we've found them before, right? So,
but then they'll become, then they're natural medicines, and they're not alternative.
They become
medicines.
like, I mean, this thing to me is so, like, we talked about vaccinations on this episode, and this is absolutely linked. The anti-vaxxers are also of the natural medicine types, but I mean, maybe why it exists and why it's not all bad is when, because like, say you're going to your doctor, undergoing treatment for some illness, and it's just like not really working, which happens, right?
Or
what are you
pain
gonna do?
management.
Well, whatever. But it doesn't even matter. I'm just saying, like, scenarios. It doesn't really, because lots of times you do go through traditional. You go to the hospital, you go to the doctors, you see the doctors. They're not helping you. It could be pain. Who knows what? Come chronic illness, nothing's helping you, and it's like, so, well, what do you do? And that even if it's a solid, placebo effect that's making you feel better, or maybe it is something we haven't discovered yet about alternative medicines. I think it just gives people options, and people want to have those, especially when they feel hopeless. Because and maybe that's a value. Because if you have like stage 4 cancer, and they're like, your prognosis is not good, you've got 6 months. There's not much we can do. Maybe we can extend your life by 3 months with chemo. You're gonna feel like hell. But maybe there's an alternative medicine out there that says it can cure your cancer. Now, it probably won't, or else it would have been adopted by the mainstream, but it may give you hope. It might, and I think hope is powerful. It gives people the will to live, and that's something. Who needs that more than someone with a expiration stamp clearly on their life? And so maybe that's the value of this stuff. I mean, the danger that's clear of this is that hucksters are going to take advantage of this, right? And so, I mean, how can you say it's good? It gives people hope, and that is that bad or is that good? I mean, it's more complicated than that, of course, but maybe that's value.
I agree. I agree with that. Like, I agree in the concept of giving people hope and all that is important. It is one of those things where, like, if I feel in many ways it preys on people's ignorance or vulnerabilities. If I am diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and told that I am going to die soon, I'm not suddenly going to become stupid, and to then.
But you might become desperate.
I might become,
and that's different, right?
I might become desperate, but does that make me believe things that I knew
I think
to be false? Yeah,
I think that if you're really desperate and someone is giving you hope and has persuasive arguments, because if you were to go on some of the believers of these sites, they'll make very convincing arguments about why this stuff will work. I mean, I think ultimately they're not convincing if you follow it through and your critical thinking, is in place. But I think if you're desperate and you're really looking for an answer, you're not going to be thinking that way. You're going to be wanting an answer.
Snake oil salesman.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Is what you come back to. I do think
I come back to the whole they're very convincing. Like a snake oil salesman. No, don't worry. Rub this shit on your belly. Rub this gasoline on your face and belly, and be sure to drink a little bit each night. I know it tastes bad, but really it'll enter your bloodstream and clean out your veins. That's what it'll lubricate your arteries.
But maybe also, I'm very clearly leaning away, like this alternative medicine's bad, but like, there's got to be something about is the only way to treat things, the way that we're currently doing it in a hospital. And I think that it's if you look at traditional medical science, it's clearly something which is evolving. If you look at it 200 years ago, it looks like complete quackery. The mainstream looks like what people were doing that, but it's like they didn't know any better. And we do not know everything about how the human body works, and we're learning about lots about it all the time. So things are changing, and I think that's why I put my stock in the scientific model to find this stuff out. But maybe some of the questions and research that will develop new ways of treating things might come out of alternative medicine. Might come out of anecdotal success. If someone is saying that acupuncture really does work, and yes, it's a dogmatic type of approach to medicine that doesn't change or alter over time, but it works. If someone really sits down, they really study, maybe they'll find some of the underlying reasons why it works and bring that into the fold. I don't like, in my mind, I'm always like, I want to learn more about this because I'm like, has this not happened? Like, acupuncture is a huge thing, and it's like, have people studied it?
Or chiropractic. Like, we went to a chiropractor for my daughter's latch. Like, she was not latching on or whatever, and they did like. Yes, they do a sort of adjustment on babies. It's a big thing. It's so like
I got big red flags about that.
Yeah, well, maybe we didn't know, but it definitely improved the latch. Like, I don't know if that's like
yeah, it could be circumstantial. I mean, probably she was going to get better over time.
I don't know, but like it was fairly immediate, and it was a fair and I knew very little about chiropractors being fringe science or whatever.
Well,
they're all over the place, so
they are,
and
here,
they really do a lot. Yeah,
with the following text. So chiropractic spinal manipulation aims to treat vertebral subluxations, which are claimed to put pressure on nerves.
Bo's really smart. Did he just pull that off the
No,
top
I'm reading
of
this
his
from the
head?
Wikipedia page. Chiropractic was developed in the belief that manipulating the spine affects the flow of a supernatural vital energy, therefore affects health and disease. Vertebral subluxation is a pseudoscientific concept and has not yet been proven to exist.
Yeah, and their industry does a lot of work to make themselves seem legitimate. They have chiropractic associations, and they'll say that a chiropractic doctor has to take like 5 more years of education than a medical doctor does, and all this kind of stuff. But in the end, I mean, I've heard some stuff about this where it's like people go back because every time they leave the chiropractor, they usually feel great. And then, but it doesn't cure what they have.
But they'll even get recommended by, like, I know people I have someone who got into a car accident, mild one, but had back pain, who's been going, maybe it's physiotherapy, which is a different thing.
No, but, well, it might be physio, but the thing is, both of these things have the same effect.
There's a difference between a physiotherapist and a chiropractic, but they both work with you physically to strengthen your injury in difficult places on your body. Sort
of. Chiropractors, like, I mean, a physiotherapist is trying to rebuild your muscle by forcing you to do certain things. A chiropractor is, you're lying there and they're moving your neck and
then it's
body.
Definitely a chiropractor. So
that's what a chiropractor is.
So do they offer no good?
I went to see a physiotherapist for my shoulder. Like, you're trying to you're trying to push yourself out of your comfort zone.
So this person I know, and should I tell them to not go to the chiropractor, because they seem to, after 6-8 weeks of going out twice a week after work, supposedly getting the massage on their back and stuff will help realign their spine or something like that. Like, is that horseshit?
Like, again, it won't. But the thing is, like, I heard this long documentary about on the radio, like, I don't know, a year ago. It was quite interesting. But they're saying that, like, so when you go to these places, even in massage therapy or physiotherapy, you almost always leave feeling good, because there is a known effect that when other human beings touch you, and especially massage you, like, who hasn't had a massage?
A massage is
like,
good.
I feel good.
Yeah.
Happy ending or not?
Okay. You will feel good with a happy ending, but if there isn't one, you still feel good, because having your muscles massaged is a nice feeling.
That's true. I love massages.
Yeah, everyone loves them. And a chiropractor is basically not a glorified masseuse, but, like, they're also doing things that are stimulating release of endorphins.
And it's like, I bet they are.
And that's that's what the happy ending's all about, Grok.
Yeah, the endorphins are not what
endorphins.
come out of your pee-pee when during sex. It's semen. Just to be clear.
I also
you might not know that, but I'm learning you now, and I didn't have to look that up on Wikipedia.
I also did 2 sessions of acupuncture. I think it was again related to.
Did you release your semen and then it stopped?
Yeah,
We're done, sir, with 2 sessions.
How was the happy ending with the acupuncture?
What is wrong with you guys? Taking everything.
Can you put one of those in my penis, sir?
Jesus, I'm trying to have a serious conversation here. Also, I'm not wearing any pants, just for the record. I went to acupuncture twice, and I will say that I definitely saw no results. It was an experience, and it felt weird, having like needles shoved all in my shoulder and stuff, and they had a machine that they connected to it that I don't know if it vibrated them or whatever. It made my muscles all like tense up and feel like weird and stuff like that. But I definitely did not see any sort of results, and it became one of those things where like I think even my doctor had suggested it was, again, it's like you're seeing a regular doctor, and the doctor's like, well, you could also try this and that and the other thing, right? Some people have noted that they feel better after that, but like the acupuncturist was pretty much like, yeah, you need to do it at least like 5 times or something to start seeing an effect. And I was like, well, technically, in the time that it would take me to do it 5 times, I probably will just be getting better.
Your body will heal itself.
Anyways, right? So I was just like, because I didn't feel really any result, and unlike stuff like massages or chiropractic, when I came out of it, there was nobody touching me. I had needles in me, so there was no like endorphins of like I came out and I'm like, oh, I feel a lot better. I was more like, oh, thank God those needles are out of me.
But that's the kind of thing too. There's a certain personality type which feels that pain is progress. That, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like where it can be massage feels good, like Mike's argument's good, but I think there's a personality type that will feel like, self-flagellation is somehow rewarding or good, or self-inflicted pain is a sign of progress and strengthening.
It is funny though how a lot of these things count on time, because like if there's one thing your body generally is good at, is it will fix itself over time mostly. And it's like I think one time I got this
or decay, Abo.
Eventually we're all gonna die. I got this skiing shoulder injury. Let me finish my damn story. Stop trying to zing him. Yeah. I got this shoulder injury.
Put your pants back on.
God damn it! Are you guys finished? Do you want to move on? You don't want to?
Crofton is, because Crofton is, but I last a while.
I'm just saying, look, Hodgins, if I had to wait for you to stop talking to get a zinger in, there would be no zingers. I hate to break it to you. That's a zinger. Zing. Okay.
All right.
What were you saying?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember now because you were blathering on so long.
All right. Bottom line is, I went to the acupuncturist and it didn't do anything for me. So I'm with my very limited, because it seems like neither of you guys have any experience with this. I've been to the baby chiropractor. I've been to the acupuncturist.
There's a baby chiropractor? Oh man.
Yeah. And also, Jesse did, what was it? Oh,
Reiki?
Shit. No.
That's a bunch of bullshit too.
So we went to food sensitivities. Like they took like.
Was it a real doctor though? Because there are such things.
Nutritionist.
No, I think it started with H.
Nutritionist.
Homeopathy.
Oh,
nutritionist.
Quackery.
It better not have been a homeopathy person.
Maybe it was a nutritionist. I don't know.
I mean, a nutritionist is an actual.
Oh, isn't there a term for childcare? It's not pediatrics, is it?
No, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
But
like, okay, well,
holistic.
Okay,
was it holistic?
Do you have any experience with alternative medicine?
Here's the experience, which just makes me think. I'll go back. I remember what I was gonna say. So I got this shoulder injury skiing, and it really, like, I hurt my shoulder. I was like, and it ached for like weeks, and kept aching. And it was like, 2 months later, it was still kind of aching. But you know what I did? Here's what I did. Nothing. And I kept doing nothing for a good year. And you know what? my shoulder didn't hurt anymore. And it's like, so what I learned from that, it's like it took a long time. Like I remember 8 months later being like, my shoulder still kind of aches from that thing, and I kept waiting.
Good though.
Yeah, but you know what?
I
have absolutely no.
Did you take painkillers during that time?
No, I mean it was just like it was just an ache. It just kept aching. But the thing is, like, look,
before you go preaching the no medicine,
just let me finish.
They'll probably get arthritis in that shoulder.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure you do. Hope I do. But
I will.
So in the end,
we're gonna make Mike so mad.
Oh my god! I wish I could throttle both of you guys. My shoulder feels fine, right? And it's like, but if I had, say, after the first month, I was like, my shoulder's aching, I got to go see someone, and I go to the acupuncturist. They're like, okay, come back twice a week. We're gonna get you all good. You go there every week. It's feeling a little better every week. And after a year, be like, man, my shoulder feels great. I got no problem anymore. The acupuncturist fixed me. Like you can easily, and that's why anecdotal stuff is so flawed. Like you can have correlations and attribute causation, and that might be completely wrong. And that's why, like the scientific method,
well, technically,
it can be coincidental
right now, right?
That it got better by itself.
You're like, I just waited 8 months, which is a damn long time, and then look, it's perfectly fine.
It's not that damn long. Think about what your body's doing. If you break a bone, it has to regrow bone. Like, what do you think is going to happen in a week?
So I also injured my shoulder, and
what did you do doing it? Were you masturbating too hard?
No,
he was releasing endorphins.
The best sport of all time, and I hurt myself in an epic fashion, throwing a pole. And anyway, when that happened, like it was really weird, and I felt like all sorts of tingling in my arm and all this, and I was in a lot of pain, but also I couldn't even move my arm as much as I used to, and I still can't to this day. Like so I started going to see I went to the doctor. I had MRIs done and stuff like that, and there was about 3 things wrong with it. Including something about a rotator cuff and some other thing I forget. And so like I had to take a shot of steroids or something in the shoulder.
The one thing. Sorry.
And then I went to physio and like I continued. Now had I done the Mike Hodgins way and been like, I'll just shake it off, time will make it better, I would not have nearly as much mobility in my arm as
How do you know that?
Well,
see, it's funny how you're saying like I know that it wouldn't be cured because
I don't have great mobility now, but I have more than I did before I started going to physio.
Well, how do you know if you'd done nothing, it wouldn't be the same?
I trust.
He does. You don't. Just say you don't. You don't. It doesn't.
Yes, I did.
The moral of this story is when you're masturbating, take it easy.
But no, hang on. But the thing about Crofton is he just used an example where he went to real medical professionals, which you should do. You don't have to do.
Yeah,
Mike, you're both right.
Yeah.
You're both right here. We're picking on fucking alternative medicine. Both of your solutions are great. The one thing I was going to say about Mike's story is that it would be good to go check it because some injuries do heal improperly.
Mike's got the Hodgins. Don't go to the doctor.
I don't think this is the case with your arm, but I think if like you break a leg, I think if you have a serious injury, things need to be set. There's a reason you wear casts and shit like that. Like it does need to be set so that things heal properly. That's a thing. I know that's a thing, and a doctor can help you make sure something heals properly.
Oh, you just made me think of something. That when we were talking about going to the doctor, and all that, that's something we take for granted in Canada because we don't have to pay for that, right?
Right.
Like
and our exorbitant taxes.
Well, we don't sit here going like, I got rent, or I can go have my shoulder looked at.
Yeah, exactly. So like for us, it's not a choice of like I'm just wondering if in the States, when you have a choice between like real medicine,
if you have health care, I don't think it's that bad though.
Go into doctors and it's like cost yay high, and then you have the choice to alternative medicine or some other medicine, and it's say still pricey but much cheaper than going to the actual doctor.
I think the problem, and again I don't know, we should have an American tell us this information, I think it's if you don't have insurance. Like if you have insurance, it's the equivalent of having insurance here, which means
or something might not be covered.
You have covered, but should check about what's covered. True, but if you're someone of means with good coverage, you're probably okay.
There are millions of Americans who don't have coverage, which is the whole Obamacare thing, and to be unraveled soon.
Which,
I'm sure.
Is an incentive towards snake oil. It is a small psychological factor, but the acupuncture guy is probably like $10. I had to give you acupuncture. It's fucking racist.
But then it's the old adage: you get what you pay for.
This is like a sudden outburst of racism.
No, but
I'm sorry.
it's between that and nothing. I guess is like I could understand. Like it'd be interesting to see in Canada what the alternative medicine industry is compared to the States. If it's the same or
it's big. I really think it's based more on people. Like people don't like. There's people like to rebel against the traditional medicine. They think it's like a lot of toxic, pharmaceuticals that are bad for you, and a lot of these things are, But it's just like sometimes it takes a terrible thing to cure something, Like with cancer in particular, like you feel like shit, and you are drinking poison or getting poison put into you. That's what chemotherapy is. It's trying to kill part of your body, so you feel like hell. And it's like people want alternatives that don't seem like that. But what's so funny is it this misnomer that things that are natural, they're like natural remedies. And it's like people have this idea that nature isn't trying to kill you, and it's like nature wants you dead. Like there's so many things in nature that want you to die. There's animals that can poison you, all kinds of microbes you can get into you and kill you.
Your own cellular structure is trying to kill you.
Something being natural doesn't mean that it's good. It could be far worse than something that's pure toxic chemical.
I would say Clown Baby just mentions for the States, insurance only pays for a portion. So it's always an issue in the States.
You probably have to pay a deductible if it's like an insurance.
Yeah,
Man,
but I mean, like even if you're like a $100K a year young professional, you'd still end up having to pay something. So.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you just walk up and every shit's paid for, man. Unless it's like kind of cosmetic, like glasses. You have to have. I need to get new glasses. I have a healthcare plan now, by the way.
Just get laser eye surgery.
Do they pay for it? Well,
it's alternative medicine. They shoot laser.
No, it's cosmetic though.
It only lasts 20 years.
It's cosmetic though, right? I gotta fork out a pocket for that. They now
fund like $1,000 of it, I think.
How much is it?
There's no point at this age, because I asked about it last time, and they said that your body goes through a couple like shifts where your eyes change, and one of them's like 45 or something. And for me, they were like, "Well, you could do it, but like probably your eyes are going to change again in like 5 or 6 years. You should have done it like 10 years ago." And I was like,
I thought you were going to be like, I thought you were going to say like, well, if I just tough it out, like don't go to the doctors, maybe in 8 months my eyes will fix themselves.
No,
like what?
They won't. But the contacts I wear work very nicely.
Yeah, that's great.
And they're cheap as.
Just like you, da-doom doom zing.
Well,
aren't you the cheap ass?
I can go on about this, but maybe we should get to verdicts here.
Yeah, let's get to the verdicts.
All right, so let's get to some cheap ass verdicts. Where's the farm animals, boys? There they are.
I said, order in the court.
Order in the court. It's time to deliver some verdicts. On
let me
the
go
subject
first because I think it's obvious.
Yeah, please do.
Maybe you softened. Who knows?
No, I didn't soften on this one. So yeah, I think alternative medicine. I think it's bad mostly. Yeah.
What a sad.
And though I think that there are, some things in it which do have some positive effect, giving people hope, maybe giving new avenues where research should go. I think those things are good, but I do think that on a whole, the negatives outweigh the consequences. And I think that advertising these types of things and saying that they cure things that there's no evidence that they cure, lead people to bad decision making. There's a famous guy in Canada, or couple, I should say, the guy got most of the slack, whose kid had meningitis or something like that, or measles. I can't remember what it was, some fairly treatable childhood disease, and they didn't want their kid to get these toxic pharmaceuticals, so they tried to cure him with garlic and ginseng, and then the little 3-year-old died. And as a father of a young kid, that breaks my heart, because that was very curable. But alternative medicine makes people die. People choose death all the time over treatable things because they want the alternative cure. And that, to me, is a bad thing. And just one last thing before I let you guys have it. I am very biased about this because I've read a lot about it and I have strong opinions. So much so that, Bo, you might recall the other day when I went to your house and I fell off my skateboard.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I remember you came over, you're like, oh, my back hurts so much.
I hurt myself
I'm like,
badly.
you're pushing 40 and you're fucking skateboarding. What the hell do you expect?
So I fell off my skateboard in like dramatic fashion, right on the pavement from like a huge fall, like right on my ass. I felt like my pelvis was busted, and I managed to get to the sidewalk, and I was just sitting there, and some older guy came by, and he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'll be alright." He's like, "I know a good chiropractor." And I didn't say anything, but even though I was in all this pain, I wanted to say, like, those are fucking quacks, you asshole. Right? And that was my first thought through the pain, is that I wanted to shit on this guy for recommending a chiropractor. On television.
Give it 10 or 20 more years. If you're 60 and you fall off a skateboard, someone does that to you, they're going to get an earful, for sure.
I'll quit skateboarding before I get to 60. Anyways,
you never know.
Bad.
All right, I'll go next and let Crofton round out because I just want to get this over with. I think by definition it's bad. I think most of the things we talked about here sounded very bad. And I honestly know very little about the subject of medicine. And my de facto response to anyone would to be go see an actual doctor for your ailments and solutions, or do a little bit of research. So bad for me. Easy verdict.
The rare bow bad. That's crazy. So for me, I actually had a hard time with this subject because I don't know a lot about alternative medicine. I didn't even really know the difference between natural medicine and stuff. And so Mike's info that he presented in this episode was really helpful to help me navigate the topic. And despite his lack of sense of humor, it was really helpful in getting me to understand a lot about the subject. That said, everything I got through Mike's lens, and afterwards I'm going to be interested in looking into some of these so-called quack sciences, and I definitely appreciate the point of giving hope to people, and I also understand the danger of that story that Mike told about the 3-year-old or whatever in his verdict. Like that stuff is really, really scary. So whereas if I was a little bit more informed on the topic, I might even be comfortable joining these guys in saying bad, because of the fact that there may be some positive outcomes, especially from stuff like chiropractors, and because of the fact that there is that element of hope, and that I'm gonna lean and say that the whole alternative medicine stuff is a giant pile of bullshit. So I'll say bullshit. And I'll also say that if you take that bullshit and you rub it on your skin, it will actually
give you a rash.
It will cure your any cuts, any open wounds that you have.
It will increase your luck in receiving money. That's
you could just wait for that wound to heal, but if you rub the cow shit in it, it will heal a lot faster, and you'll be stronger.
But
if it's festering, you know it's working.
Yeah,
and that's what that stinging is. It just means
gross.
that it's working.
That's
your body. Yeah, go ahead.
Incidentally, that the kid who died in Canada, I'm surprised you haven't heard this story, Crofton, because you're a newsy person.
No,
but
I've heard the story.
The father went to jail, and they're trying to appeal it and stuff, but you could be held responsible in this country if you give your kid some shamanic ritual instead of going to the doctor, and then they die. You might go to jail because it's your responsibility to help someone who's under your care, like a child. Yeah. So beware of the alternative medicines, or you might. I better take
Gwen out of that Hogwarts school I signed her up for. I mean,
well, schooling's different. I mean, people send their kids to shitty education system all the time. We got sent to it.
It's a medical school, actually. The Hogwarts Academy.
I think your child's a bit young to go to a medical school.
Not when she's a prodigy.
Oh, okay. Beaming with pride. Okay, we've got the opposite problem here. Someone likes his kids too much. JK, you can never love your kids too much. And speaking of loving things too much, I think there's something about sending an email that we're going to segue into, Crofton.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're doing my
You can also just talk about how good you are for a while.
I was about to zing you both a few times more before doing this.
You got a job to do this week, buddy. Why don't you do your job instead of zinging? If you want to
zing us or tell us or provide an alternative comment, perhaps about alternative medicine, you can. goodbadbull@gmail.com. Send us an email. We're on the tweets at Good Bad Bull. Goodbadbull.com is the website. You can go there to find our back catalog of episodes and that sort of thing. It's the go-to word. You can find us on Facebook. We got a Patreon if you want to contribute to that. Patreon.com/goodbadbull. We would appreciate it. All of that great stuff. Good Bad Bull they're the words that will unleash all the goodness. Speaking of goodness, we're individuals of individual natures. You can follow us individually online, starting with the raging man himself, Streets of Rage, Mike Hodgins. Where can people find you?
They can find me in the forest practicing my specific form of I call it Hodginism. It's a kind of shamanic fungus-based alternative medicine. It costs a lot of money, but it cures every disease you have. So contact me at ML Hodgins.
Tell me more
on Twitter.
And also, Double Dragon, Bo, without doing any sort of ethnically compromising accent, please tell people where they can reach you.
Yes, you can find me on Bo Schwartz on the Twitter. You find me there. You can follow me and find out all about what I'm doing.
And you can follow me at Crofton Steers on Twitter. I should not have said that to Bo.
I thought you were teeing me up for some comedy gold.
Well, when I said I was going to do the Double Dragon thing, and I'm like, oh, man, I could see this going really poorly.
Well, I mean, see, the thing is, I've been practicing accents a lot because of There Will Be Dungeons, by the way. D&D podcast, therewillbedungeons.com. Plug that. But I'm at home now. All the time I'm like, hello, how are you doing today? Like this morning at work, I was just speaking in British all morning because I'm like, I have to.
I just imagine you coming to work and be like, hello to you all, I am not what? And they're like, oh God, this guy needs some sensitivity training.
I've been trying to practice my Wakandan accent.
I can learn the most about an accent from him, so I'll just do it to him right in his face. He'll appreciate it.
The most uncomfortable has been so far is, there's Wakandan from the movie Black Panther, which is basically African. I'm like, hello, Wakanda forever. Welcome to our kingdom. It's pretty bad, but
it's
I have to try.
difficult because I'm looking at your white face and you look very white, so it's
But
I'm raising 120 million to remake that movie with all white actors.
The White Panther.
Yeah, is that? Am I allowed to do that? Is that will the internet approve?
Call it the snow leopard.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. This is how insane, because the thing I saw about the Black Panther, there was some comment. It's like, it doesn't matter that it's about black people because it has nothing to do with black people, is what most white people are saying, or something stupid like that. They're fine with it because it's just like whatever. I don't get it either. It's madness. The internet. I've come to this conclusion, and I've already kind of known this, but the discourse on the internet is really not
quality.
It's really disorienting. It's just a madhouse. Imagine walking into a people room and everyone's yelling, and you make out a few things. You make out a few things, and it's like it makes you mad. Everything you hear is just like, oh my god, this is so frustrating. Someone's like, oh, you hurt your back, you better call a chiropractor. And you're like, oh, and then you contribute to all the yelling and noise, and that's a lot of social media. And,
it's horrible,
and it's becoming part of the press, because the press, eager for your clicks for advertising, report on things like tweets, which are really the most unimportant things, but they've become newsworthy, and that's why they enter the popular discourse, and it's a feedback loop. Then an article gets published, and then everyone's fucking like, oh my god, and and then there's fake news. There's literally fake news.
Yeah, I know. The internet, it's just
there's fake tweets. We did the internet.
Fake
news.
What did I say about that?
I don't know, man.
And you can live stream us on the internet at twitch.tv/goodbadbull.
It really is a cesspool.
But that's why shows things that have a humble, grounded perspective are good. When you're coming here, you might get some stuff you disagree with. You're for sure going to, but I think we're pretty reasonable for the most part.
Shut up, Bo.
It's different. It's different. Right now it's different, I think. We're okay. We're safe. It's internet comments, and it's all comments. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
not to engage,
Lots of snake oil also being sold via these means too. Tons of
Oh
misinformation.
yeah, just look at YouTube videos. Everything's a conspiracy. Didn't you know?
You guys are a barrel of fun.
Sheeple. All right,
Sheeple.
I'm gonna head up.
Chesticles.
I'm sure, Bo, you can find a spot to end it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Maybe when I tell you to shut up.
Hey, Lord Shaper, Clown Baby 123. Thanks for hanging out, man. Good to see you, and Monica too.
Yeah, guys.
This is
Thank you for coming.
Our core power crew of Good, Bad, or Bullshit in the chat room. Love seeing you guys here. We've been away for a while, but here we are. We all managed to make it to Skype. I slept until 8. I woke up randomly at 8:30. I didn't even mean to fall asleep. I was like, oh, I had food coma as I just went to sleep. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, shit. Thank God Crofton didn't get Gwen to sleep at 8:30. I was like, you were like, I'm going to be 10 minutes. I was like, yes. Save.
I feel like that's going to be on your gravestone. It'll be like, Bo Schwartz, I didn't even really mean to fall asleep. That'll be it. Or it'll be something video game related. Oh, like, he's gone to that epic loot drop in the sky.
Clown Baby actually asked you, Mike. He's a good cure for crabs. What would you prescribe?
A cure for his crabs?
Didn't say it was his. He said a cure for crabs.
Yeah, just go into the woods and find the nastiest fungus and rub it into your pubes. It's a shamanic ritual. You also have to do it in the moonlight. If you don't do it in the moonlight, it won't work.
You know what?
What if he lives in the city?
Moonlight still. Oh, then
the
look in the
fungus.
sewer. You'll find fungus in there.
I think if our Mike, or the Mike we know and love, had a love of medicine and went to med school and become a doctor, he would be an awesome doctor to be like, don't do that, it's fucking bullshit. It's like, just take this medicine here and it's like, and don't do anything. What'd you come to me for? Just get to bed.
Just berate people. No, I believe in doctors. In fact, I missed an appointment.
You wouldn't berate them, but you
just today.
You see,
feel bad.
you get on your soapbox and because you're a moral authority on things because you do the research, right? But as a doctor, people would listen to you. Like as a person, you're just like blah blah blah. People are like, shut up,
That's
Mike.
why I'm not a
but
doctor.
as a doctor, people be like, oh, I guess that angry doctor's right. I better do what he says. Not that you're always angry, but just if you get on a tirade, then you know you're. Anyways, it looks like you have to go, so let's wrap it up. Chat room, thank you for hanging out. It's been great hanging out with you. See you next time.